What is up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome in to the Sacramento Sports Kings recap. My name is Chris Watkins, joining you live from Golden One Center. As ladies and gentlemen, we've done it. The Sacramento Kings. I say we because it's a home game today. It was a collective effort. The crowd got to chant "Light the Beam" tonight, so it was a we effort as the Sacramento Kings defeat the Portland Trailblazers for their first win, our first win of the season. I think it's a little bit confusing, this one, just in terms of how to feel. I mean, yes, the Kings did play a Blazer team that frankly doesn't have many aspirations for this year. This team probably won't be competing for even a play-in spot in the Western Conference, but I think at this point in the season, with the Kings being down 0-2, and we can explain away how the Kings ended up at 0-2, but the fact that they get this win, I think any Kings fan out there takes it and just runs with it. There's no caveats. There's nothing you need to put on this game to try and dampen it. This is a good quality win for this team, as this is frankly what this game should have looked like for all you degenerates out there. Tonight's game spread was 13.5 points, which essentially means that Vegas is saying that if you want to make money on the Kings tonight, you have to say that they're going to win by more than 12.5 points. As you can hear, the NBC Sports crowd to the left of me here, fans are very, very excited to get this one wrapped up today. And again, you take it however you can get it. I mean, they had some opportunities in both of their first two games against the Wolves. Obviously, the Wolves go on a really big run to end the third quarter, and the Lakers have a massive run to start the fourth quarter. And I'm not going to lie, for a second tonight, I kind of thought that was going to be the story of tonight, too. The Blazers did go on a little 13-0 run in the middle of that fourth quarter to make it a little uncomfortable for the Kings. Mike Brown kept his starters in until about 2 to 3 minutes left in the game. I think that's definitely longer than what he would have wanted to do, considering how much the starters have played these first two games, and considering that the Kings have a game less than 24 hours from now in Utah to take on the Jazz tomorrow. I would think that you would have wanted to keep your guys as fresh as possible. Of course, those couple minutes down the stretch really shouldn't have much of an effect on tomorrow, but ideally, I think you just like to give your starters some rest and save yourself from any potential injury. Of course, knock on wood, we avoided all that tonight, and the Kings get the win, even though it was a little bit less comfortable than what I think they wanted it to be and what it looked like it was going to be. Nonetheless, getting the win is absolutely huge. And the Kings went on some runs themselves that really did tell the story of this one. Really incredibly boring first half. I mean, for anybody, I love basketball. Like, I'm glad I get paid to watch basketball, but I would watch it for free. It doesn't matter if it's Hornets and Raptors. I don't care. I'd watch it. That first half was tough to get through. I can't lie. Even though the Kings were winning, that was not enjoyable, fun, high-pace, flowing basketball at all. It was very clunky, a lot of misses on both sides. I think there was a point where both teams were shooting just above 30% from the field. And to be frank, it was a lot of DeRozan at the free throw line, which I think we should probably become accustomed to as Sacramento Kings fans. I think it's something that we're going to see a lot. You see in that second quarter, I mean, you can call him a merchant, you can say whatever you want, but DeRozan was getting to the free throw line at will. Like, it didn't matter who was guarding him, it didn't matter if he was driving, it didn't matter if he was settling for his mid-range jump shot. DeRozan was going to the foul line, and that's what the Kings ordered from him. That's exactly what they wanted when they signed him this offseason, is to be the kind of guy who, when offense isn't going, can we keep the flow going? Not necessarily the offensive flow, as, again, that was pretty much killed with them going to the line so much, but can they keep the points going? Can they stop those big runs that they saw in the first two games? Even though it was really only in that second quarter that DeMar got to the line a ton, definitely felt the impact of it. And, he only missed one of them. I think ideally that's probably what you're going to see on most nights. And I say ideally, obviously you would love him to go 10 for 10, but we know how things can be with Sacramento and their free throw shooters. I think if he's only missing one, I think we all take that, especially if he's taking 10 of them, if not more. I think that you see exactly how DeRozan plays his game, and it's just nice to have a player as the Kings so often play teams where you're like, man, LeBron James, for example, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they have different whistles. Like it's just how the game is played. Superstar whistle, whatever you want to call it. Some guys are officiated differently than others. We see the opposite side of that with Domantas Sabonis, who gets no foul calls called for him whatsoever in his favor, that is. DeMar DeRozan has a favorable whistle, and I don't care. King fans, you shouldn't be embarrassed by it. Embrace it, okay? He is called differently than just about anybody else in the league, and it's because of the amount of pressure that he puts on defenses. I mean, the amount of people who just have to reach or have to try and get his shot a little bit wayward because they know how good of a tough shot maker he is, just to try and make the shot as difficult as possible and kind of skate the line of what's legal and not legal. DeMar DeRozan is an absolute savant at getting to the foul line, and you saw that tonight. And I do wonder, as I kind of thought with DeMar, there was a moment where DeMar is just going to the line, going to the line, going to the line. And then De'Aaron Fox had a drive where there was much more contact on the De'Aaron Fox drive than any of the shots that DeMar DeRozan went to the foul line with. I just kind of had the thought, and I wonder how we'll see it play out. Will DeMar getting such frankly, a soft whistle, will that help De'Aaron? Because it is going to be really tough to give DeMar some of the calls that he gets and then let De'Aaron Fox get hacked on some of the drives that he has. So I do kind of wonder if through osmosis maybe DeMar DeRozan can help De'Aaron Fox get to the line even more. De'Aaron goes to the line 4 times today. I think he could have gone a couple more times, but I think we saw plenty of free throws tonight. And how about this, ladies and gentlemen? The Sacramento Kings shoot 92% at the free throw line, 23 of 25. Huge improvement from last year where they were 72 or 74%. They were last. They were last in the NBA in free throw percentage last year. So I think the fact they shoot 92%, they take 25 free throws, which is a lot. That is a lot for a Kings team. I think you absolutely love to see it. And again, it wasn't the prettiest win, especially in that first half, but I think with where they're at right now, you just want to get it done, and you worry about the style points later. Speaking of style points, got to talk about Malik Monk, who I thought had an interesting night, and we're definitely going to get to the starters later, and we're going to play some audio of Mike Brown in the pregame explaining why Keon Ellis didn't receive minutes in Saturday's game in LA, and of course Keon received 15 minutes today. But I thought Malik had a moment, or was part of the Kings' biggest run today that helped them get this win. It was I want to say 12-0 run. It was the Kings ended the third quarter on an 11-2 run the last 2 minutes. It was the Sabonis triple. Malik had those 2 threes, one of which a great tap out from Keegan Murray, who has absolutely attacked the offensive glass. Mike Brown in the preseason made a point to say that Monty McNair came to Mike Brown and his coaching staff while they were on the coaches retreat this summer and pretty much presented him with an idea of this team attacking the offensive glass a lot more aggressively than they have in the past, and essentially saying, look, I mean, the NBA today is especially about how many extra possessions you can get and create and frankly take away from the other team. Of course, steals is a huge way of getting extra possessions, forcing turnovers, but the easiest way on the offensive end is getting offensive rebounds. If you can get an offensive rebound, that is a surefire way from an offensive efficiency standpoint to definitely be amongst one of the best in the NBA. Keegan Murray, I think, has been the one that has really, really embraced that role for offensive rebounds today, for defensive as well. I just think Keegan's development as a rebounder could potentially be really big for this team. We know Sabonis is going to be there. He gets 13 boards tonight. That's light for him. That's literally average. He averaged 12 last year. 13 is usually nothing to scoff at, but for Domantas Sabonis, that is just a normal night. If Keegan Murray can help on the rebounding front, I definitely think that helps this team accomplish what they want to accomplish, especially on the offensive rebounding front. So great to see Keegan attack there. Great to see Malik really kind of, after a quiet game, recognize that moment, be very unafraid to take and make those threes. That's exactly what you want Malik Monk here for. And even though it wasn't necessarily his night to shine in the light, still had a really big impact on winning this one. And I just really thought that 11-2 run to end the third really did help this team stretch out the lead. And then to their credit, they also had a big run to start the fourth, 7-2 run to stretch the lead to 23 with about 10 minutes to go. And then, as I mentioned before, that's when the Blazers go on their little 13-0 run and make that game close. So, ultimately, I think the scoreboard made it look a lot closer than what the actual result was. The Kings really handled this one. The Blazers didn't have the lead the entire game. The Kings led by as much as 26 in this one. So it was a wire-to-wire victory for the Sacramento Kings. And again, one that feels like it came right at the right time, as the Kings are now heading on the road. They will not be back in Golden One Center until next month. I believe it's November 7th, I want to say. It might be November 6th. I believe, do they have it up there? And it will be against the Toronto Raptors. November 6th. November 6th will be the next time they are in Golden One Center. So, yeah, they're heading on the road here for, I believe, a 5-game road trip. It might be a 4-1. Let's see here. At Utah, at Atlanta, at Toronto, at Miami, and then back against the Raptors next Wednesday. No, I'm sorry, not even. Well, yes, yeah, next Wednesday. I'm sorry, next Wednesday. Be back here against the Raptors. 4-game road trip, and as we talked about after the Kings' first game this season against the Wolves, it's a golden opportunity for this team to pick up some wins, man. Like, it is, again, not an ideal start to go 0-2, but the slate of games that they have in front of them can definitely turn this thing around. And I think where tonight was a real sliding doors moment of, if the Kings lose to the Blazers, I think a lot of people start to get very vocal about their concerns how this season might go. Today definitely at least quiets the storm for another day. And I think if you can get the win against the Hawks, against the Jazz tomorrow, and then Hawks on Friday. Hawks are an easier opponent, and then you have the Raptors, who are just one of the worst teams in the NBA, frankly. I mean, they are one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the Eastern Conference, and really aren't playing for much, have a lot of really young guys. So, yeah, it could be scary, especially at this early point in the season where their destiny hasn't been sealed yet. Maybe they'll have a lot more fight than what they might if you play them in December or January. But, I think that these are some very, very gettable games here for the Kings coming up on their schedule. So hopefully they can take advantage of that and ultimately come back home. What would that be? 5-2? I mean, can you imagine if, again, where we're at heading into this game, and then to come back next time we're in this building, for them to be 5-2, an opportunity to go 6-2 against, again, one of the worst teams in the NBA. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. I think this thing is about to start to get really fun, and we'll see once they kind of get into the meat of the schedule where things start to shake. But I think if you can take advantage of some of these weaker opponents right now, the Kings can really start to feel good about the momentum that they have. And, when you have a new squad together and you're picking up losses, I think it's natural for guys to look around and say, did we ruin this? Did we kind of have something special and maybe made one or two tweaks too many? So, again, getting this win is really big for, not that noise was happening within the locker room, but you start to pile up these losses against bad teams. If you lose today, you go 0-3. You have an opportunity to stack another loss tomorrow, and you're on the road as well. That's really where things can crumble. Good thing we're not heading into that. I will also say, with the Kings heading on the road here pretty soon, or tonight actually, road trips, especially early in the season, especially a 4-game trip where, again, they won't be back here until next Wednesday. This is a really good opportunity for this team to come together as a unit. And I know that's a little bit corny, a little sappy, but I do really think that road trips in the NBA, especially with new teams, especially early in the season, long trips where they really are together, flying on planes, having to play games, getting into hotel rooms late, getting to get their schedules together for, hey, when do we practice? Hey, you want to go down, grab a bite to eat? All this stuff is really, really big, and it really only happens on the road. Obviously, when everyone's at home, you have your routine, you have your family to take care of. It's really tough to get these guys together when they're at home, but when they're on the road, it's just them. And I think that this is a really big trip. They're traveling across the country. I think it's a really good opportunity for these guys to come together. Now, saying that, I read this out on air the other day. I want to again read to everybody out there where the Sacramento Kings, now pay attention to where the Sacramento Kings are heading on this road trip. Now, tomorrow, Utah, no big deal. Nobody's ever had a too crazy of a night in Utah. However, Friday at Atlanta, Saturday at Toronto, Monday, as in Saturday, and then you have Sunday off, and then Monday you are playing in Miami against the Miami Heat. So again, I say this group needs to come together. Be great if they grab dinner. I don't want them to hang out together past let's say 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock needs to be the hard deadline. Okay, those are some of the elite. Those are some of the elite nighttime, nightlife destinations in the NBA circles. So hopefully these guys do come together. Hopefully they ain't partying too hard. Being in Atlanta, Toronto, and then Miami, three of the 4 nights. Thankfully, I guess they don't have much time to kind of hang out in those parts. And I will say this group of guys, not big party animals. I mean, all these guys have families, and I'm not saying that a couple of them, younger guys, don't like to get after it, but a lot of really good professional guys in this group. I wouldn't expect them to deal with something like that, especially this early in the season. I think that really shouldn't be a problem, but people always speak of the Miami flu, and I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned about it, but hopefully these guys can see the mission at hand. Hopefully they understand that picking up wins right now is the most important thing. And you could definitely say it's a different kind of tough strength of schedule there. Opponent-wise, pretty easy. Pretty easy. I don't really have much problem saying that. I think, again, Utah is one of the easier opponents. I think Atlanta is a team you have to take advantage of, and Toronto is really no excuse on that one. So good little opportunity ahead, and I think that Miami game is going to be the first real test of that road trip. And even then, Miami, especially to start the seasons, they usually come out a little bit slow. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But again, I think it's a really good opportunity that sits in front of this Kings team right now. Let's see here. Should also be noted, I took note of this for sure, Kings last season on the second night of back-to-backs with 0 rest. The Kings last year were 6-9. I think ideally you want to hover around 500. Of course, if you can be better than that, more power to you. But back-to-backs are tough for anybody, any team in the league. Not many teams end up playing well second night of back-to-backs. You just saw this Portland team on the second night of a back-to-back. However, we also just saw the Lakers on the second night of a back-to-back. They didn't look tired at all, especially this early in the season. Back-to-backs really shouldn't have that much effect on you. So 6-9 last year in the second night of back-to-backs. Hopefully the Kings can get that off their back, and hopefully they can make it a strength this year. That's all you can really hope for, is also just showing the right amount of effort. I mean, Utah, it's not a short flight. It's definitely I don't know what we did the flight to Utah last year. I want to say 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. It might have not even been that, but I think in terms of a back-to-back, it's a really, really close flight. So I don't know. I just hope that they don't come out flat tomorrow and erase all the momentum that it feels like they just got, because this one was an easy win, and it'd be a shame if tomorrow. I know Utah's got some players. I would probably say more players than this Portland team has, but realistically, I mean, they just don't have the horses to keep up with them. I will also say they also just had a pretty traumatic, tragic injury today for their rookie Taylor Hendricks. You don't need to go look it up, because it's a nasty one. It definitely qualifies in the NSFW do not watch if you're squeamish category. I believe he had a compound fracture in his leg. Wasn't off jumping or anything like that. Just kind of was running, and I don't know if he slipped on the floor or something like that. But he's done for the season. That's all you can read there. So I don't know if emotionally that hurts Utah. I don't know if that kind of lifts them up and they really want to kind of galvanize around it. But definitely really really sad for them to lose one of their rookies this season, as they're a really young team and we're probably banking on playing a lot of those young guys this year. No Taylor Hendricks for sure tomorrow for the Utah Jazz. So that is all the notes that I have. Also, yes, Amid Rock, thank you for pointing out. Get your free Mountain Mike's pizza. The end there, Tamani Kamara missed. No, it wasn't Tamani. It was Danilo Banton. Missed 2 free throws. At the end, everybody gets a free. I think it's a personal pizza from Mountain Mike's with the purchase of a 20-ounce soda. So it's never completely free. Come on. Y'all know this. All right, I want to play this sound from the pregame, which I don't think anybody has heard yet unless you are on socials here. Mike Brown was asked in the pregame about Keon Ellis and pretty much why he didn't go yesterday. Or I'm sorry, I keep saying yesterday. He didn't go on Saturday against the Lakers. Sorry, as I'm trying to pull this up real quick here. I want to make sure you guys can hear the sound. I believe I got it. Okay, here. Let's throw this on here. And we will. Hold on. Let's get this here. And, sorry, as you guys see me editing in real time. Let's get myself in the corner here. And here we go. Here is Mike Brown talking about Keon Ellis and why he was not in the starting lineup or in the rotation at all on Saturday. Okay, apparently you guys can't hear that. I was just making sure if you guys could hear that.
Go
But
Kings.
yes, thank you,
Tomorrow,
Nate. See you tomorrow, Nate. My bad, as y'all could not hear that. It's fine. Let me just go through here. I was trying to be all fancy and do it through this software, but instead I'm just going to do it straight through here, straight how I know how to do it. So again, here is Mike Brown talking about why Keon Ellis was not in the rotation. Oh my
in preseason
gosh.
to out of the rotation at this point, or what's going on with that situation?
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it, if you guys remember, he starting because Kevin got hurt, so he was not technically a starter last year, and Kevin, with him being healthy, he got the spot back, and he's got to fight to hold on to it, but I have a pretty good feel now of what I have. Against the Lakers, one of the things we wanted to try to do, and we try to do it all the time, is to play extremely fast. And Jordan is really good with the basketball, especially in the speed game. And so giving Jordan a crack at it before Keon was the thought process, just because we want to play fast. And if you think about, the rotation, there's only so many minutes. If I don't play Alex, we're going to be really, really small, which isn't the end of the world. If I don't play Trey, we're going to be really, really small. I'm going to play Malik off the bench right there. That's 8. And then I probably can play one more guy. And if I'm lucky, I might be able to play another one. And especially that's the case until I get the minutes figured out. As you saw in game one, I think DeMar had 43 and Keegan had 41, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's not what they need to average this year. They were better in the Laker game, the minutes, but it's still a little too high. If I can keep Domas, Fox, Keegan at around 35 to 36, and then it'd be great to keep DeMar at around 34 to 35. That's ideal. Can I get there? I hope I can get there sooner than later, but I definitely don't want to exceed 36 minutes unless I absolutely have to for any of those guys.
So there you go. There is Mike Brown talking about why Keon Ellis is not in, or was not, I should say, as he did play 12 minutes today, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure I got that right. He did play, Keon played 14 minutes today, 14 and a half minutes today. He is clearly, at least for the time being, back in the rotation. But Mike kind of citing some different things there. If I can be honest, I didn't really love that answer. I think it's a little bit tough to try and say that you couldn't find minutes for Keon Ellis when you have your guys playing so many minutes. I think the simple solution is just don't play De'Aaron Fox 40 minutes. Don't play, I think Kevin Huerter played 25 minutes, and I don't think necessarily the minutes is the answer is cutting Kevin's minutes, because I do think Kevin Huerter, for what it's worth, also played great today. 7 to 12 from the field, 18 points. I think that's exactly what you want from Kevin Huerter. He also had a ton of deflections defensively as well. Ended up with 3 blocks as well, no steals, which again is kind of criminal because he had so many deflections. But I thought Kevin was really good defensively, and I thought he was good on Saturday too. So I don't want to just say cut Kevin Huerter's minutes, but you can find 3 to 4 minutes that Kevin was playing in that game, or maybe you can go to Keon. Just kind of, I didn't love it. I didn't love the answer. I do understand, and I do appreciate Mike being kind of candid in saying that he himself is still trying to figure out the minute distribution, and he also went on, I don't think it's in that clip there, but he did go on to kind of say that Jordi Fernandez was a big person in terms of Mike has this thing called his rotation sheet, which is essentially where essentially in the game planning phase of preparation, him and an assistant coach, which was Jordy last year, and I think he said Luke Laux has helped out a lot this year with it, but Luke, with taking over other Jordy responsibilities, kind of can't be fully invested in it. Long story short, essentially Mike is saying Jordy played a really big hand in kind of playing out that minute sheet, and he himself is still kind of working out. So I thought it was just an interesting perspective, not really something I have thought about before, that it's not even just that the Kings players are dealing with an adjustment period with a new face in DeMar DeRozan, but the Kings coaching staff is also having to deal with a little bit of newness with Jordy not being there and him being such a big piece. Like, Jordy Fernandez was Mike Brown's first hire when he got the coaching job here in Sacramento. Jordy Fernandez was person number 1 that Mike Brown hired, and that just tells you how much trust and how much input Jordy probably had in this entire process. He's got to figure out how to replace that, and also to trust those people too. Like, I think we also saw some moments today, or I noticed a couple moments where normally the Kings replay system last year from the bench was Luke Laux. Luke Laux was in either the back row a couple years ago, or I think last year he made it to the front row as well. Robbie Lemons is another Kings assistant who would work on it as well. But they have like a laptop in front of them, and it used to be Luke Laux who would be the one that Mike Brown would look to when he was looking to make a challenge. And if Luke Laux said review it, Mike would review it. And now Luke Laux, again, defensive coordinator, he doesn't have Luke looking at the replays. And I saw a couple times where Mike Brown would look to his assistant coaches to see if he was going to review the play or not. And I saw a couple times, and I don't know how to feel about it. I do kind of think it is the right answer, but I saw people just point up to the Jumbotron and say, just look up there, because either we're still looking at the play or we can't get it up, or, at the end of the day, it's a judgment call and it's on you, Mike. It just seemed like it was a bit of a different process in the review period. So I don't know. Yeah, I just think that it was interesting to kind of hear Mike break down the reasons why. Again, I don't necessarily believe in the result that he came to with not playing Keon, but I just thought it was interesting and kind of one of those moments where it's like, man, like I feel like I have a good understanding of what happens in an NBA organization, and I just didn't even ever consider that. So there's so many things that we just don't even know what goes into a decision-making process, why things end up happening, if things were meant to happen and just ended up not happening. Just another example of that really is what I read from it, but pretty crazy, pretty crazy. And I think that is about it here. I haven't seen anything. Here's a little clip that friend Matt George put up. Let me see if I can get this here. Here is. Let me get this up here. Here is a clip. Matt George, friend of the everything, just friend Matt George, posted it here. Kevin Huerter and De'Aaron Fox talking about not letting the Kings get outworked tonight. Okay.
Early in the season, I think, we should have played desperate. I feel like we coming into this, we just couldn't let them outwork us or play harder than us. And for the most part, I feel like we did that.
Yeah, we had to play desperate. Obviously, you don't want to start the season 0-3. Obviously, and then 2 of them being at home. So we couldn't let, obviously, a younger team come in and outwork us. And obviously, they were on a back-to-back. But, we have one tomorrow, and that's you never want that to be an excuse. If the ball doesn't go in, then the ball doesn't go in. But being outworked is something that you can't, just come in and let somebody do, especially not at home.
Wow. How about that? Love to hear that from your Kings players there. That's something that just, I know it seems like a given, but that was not something that this team was publicly saying last year, is that, hey, look, like we can't have, like it's almost embarrassing if we lose this game, because that's just a sign that we didn't show up to work today. We just thought that we could, or we didn't show up prepared for work today. There's a big difference. I'll just use myself as an example. I could show up and do the radio show tomorrow and say, I watched the Kings game. I was here. I can talk about sports for 4 hours tomorrow. But it's different to then go into the show and have notes, have my box score printed out, take notes on my box score. Hey, what notes did I write for the post-game show yesterday? Let me make sure I have those for the game. Making sure you're properly prepared, making sure you're not just showing up and being present, but making sure that you're prepared to actually take care of what you need to take care of. That is something that this Kings team at least wasn't talking about last year. And I hope that that's a sign of development. I hope it's a sign of maturity for this team, because they desperately needed it. I don't want to just attribute it to DeMar DeRozan. I think that's a little bit too easy. I think it's a little bit too convenient. I'll give De'Aaron Fox credit for growth. I'll give credit to Domantas Sabonis for maybe being more vocal and growing with this team as well. But of course, also got to give DeMar DeRozan some actual credit for doing it on the floor. And even it's one thing to talk about it in the pregame, but it's another thing, and again, not just trying to solely give credit to DeMar, but I really do think that him just going to the free throw line in that second quarter established, we're not going to let the Blazers get any momentum. We as the Kings, it's fine. We're the better team. At the end of the day, we think if we keep this game close, or we just prevent, really at the end of the day, if you prevent the Blazers from getting any sort of momentum, you'll be fine. And I think that's what happened tonight. The Blazers, ice cold from 3. The Kings, as we've seen here at Golden One Center, people come in and just become the Golden State Warriors. I don't know what it is about these rims. People love playing at Golden One Center. The fact that the Blazers shoot 18% today, hands down the biggest reason why the Kings were able to handle this one easy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be a wrap for me tonight. Really fun win. Glad that you all could join me. Had great turnout tonight. I will not be live for tomorrow's game. I don't believe I'll be live over the weekend as well. There is check out our Sacktown Sports 1140 Twitter page. That's where you'll be able to figure out every single time I stream. I also think we're going to post it on the Facebook as well. So if that's how you get your Sacktown Sports information, you can check it out there as well. We will not be doing every single night. It was just too much last year. I really want to talk to y'all. I love doing these post games, but it also was pretty taxing over an 82-game stretch. So we're going to try and be more selective this year with the right nights to do it. Obviously, Kings' first win had to be it. But yeah, you can also follow me. My Twitter is right under DeMar here. You can find me there. I'll try and retweet every time I'm going to be out there. I'll also try and let y'all know the day before so you can kind of get properly prepared. But thank you all for hopping in and joining me tonight. This is a really, really fun one as the Kings get their first win of the season, first of many beams lit this year against the Portland Trailblazers by a score of 111-98. We will see the Kings back in action tomorrow in Utah as they take on the Jazz for what will hopefully be another big Kings victory. Y'all have a fantastic night, and I will see you soon. Peace.